this is my note, that we have to accept the application. When we accept the application, then we can start on the secret to be sent to the agency. And then you have to go to the secret.
So people, oh, you sent it to me. I'm thinking, geez, Mike didn't waste any time. I didn't get back to him. So I can respond to Mike then and say, we're live. That's it.
Well, they don't get this stuff to use the whole project this year.
Oh, yeah, he's got it.
Right, so
But then you could put it in the easy. I need to sign for all this for our showing on the campgrounds. So I need to sign a sheet. This is what I talked to you about a few weeks ago about obtaining your campground. And I just found a map showing the sites and stuff. Yeah, I don't know if we got it. Okay. Right. So this, I don't see why. There's like 177 sites. Yeah. Basically, all we want to do is we're adding 8 more sites. This is water over here. Basically, we're not through the health department. We went to all the sites, the septic.
Yeah, I think it's, the comprehensive plan.
We're gonna do more this year. I want this to make sure.
But the comprehensive plan.
So one of the batteries on my device is working.
I didn't do
Should have brought
anything.
just an extra battery pack.
Yeah, I should have. It really would just be going with this. This is a big battery.
You should have taken that.
there was a change on page 2 of the secret, so I would need another copy of page 1 and 2 because they're not. Shana will show you where.
You'd appreciate these photos.
On their own land.
How about the stream? Yeah, the problem is that their Wi-Fi is not compatible with live streams, so we're having to do it over cellular. But we're live right now.
Oregon skiing.
How's that your son?
That's 2 weeks ago. Followed by my grandson song the weekend after, followed by a week ago. It's even deeper. So he's 6'3".
That's great. Okay, that's crazy.
So he'd had snowmobile. He'd had
Just got 2 feet over the weekend. Got it. I must have been a really narrow band.
yeah, it was really narrow because I think it went right through that area. So he'd had a snowmobile that he'd used to go backcountry skiing, and he called somebody up. He's a lot like you, was looking for a deal. So Jim had a snowmobile for sale. He said, well, it's a little more than I wanted to pay for it. But he said, I've got my cash and I've got my system. I go, and I said, just it's all I have to spend. He always finds something wrong. So he gets there and talks to the guy. And he said, well, okay, that's the snowmobile. It was like $2,500 for it. So I went through and he checked with some friends of his and he'd done some research. He said, here's issues with compression and stuff. And the guys maintain snowmobile was in meticulous shape. The compression was right there. And the person said, well, my dad used to have it. He's having some surgery and they wouldn't be able to sell them. So he said, I have 2 of them. He bought 2 snowmobiles and the trailer. It was like 6 months old.
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
this time we'll have privilege of the floor and things that are non. Has everyone looked at the minutes from last month?
Yeah.
You want to give me a motion to accept? Second?
I'll second.
All in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Okay.
Who seconded it?
Harvey.
Yeah.
Open public hearing?
Public hearing for Monroe?
What's that?
Public
Yes.
hearing for Monroe?
Right now, let's start the public hearing for Donald Monroe subdivision, minor subdivision.
Good evening, everybody.
Hi.
First, our mailings. And same maps I brought last month, and if you recall, Mr. Monroe owns property on County Route 8, and it spans both sides of County Route 8. And proposing to subdivide it into two lots, separated by County Route 8. We only surveyed the part that he's selling, 13 acres, on the southwest side of the road. No buildings, no setback issues to be concerned about, plenty of acreage, plenty of frontage.
Anybody have any comments? Motion to close the hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the hearing. I'll second.
Okay, can we have a motion to subdivide this?
Make a motion.
You have to do
that-
the secret.
Always do a secret. Please.
All right, he's asked me to read, you guys ready?
Yes.
All right, number one, will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulations?
No.
No.
Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area, CEA? Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate, wait, I missed one, sorry. Number 5, will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No.
Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
No.
Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies,
No.
public or private wastewater treatment utilities?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources, example, wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna?
No.
Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding or drainage problems. Will the proposed action create a hazard for environmental resources or human health?
No.
Yes. Here, do mine. This is the original. Now you gotta sign it. So the secret's good. Once he's done signing. So he's the third too. Yep. Motion to approve.
Need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Subdivision accepted.
Yep. I've always. I've always. I need to.
That's it? I mean, my son.
Well, I need to for my file, and then, however,
Give one to real property.
We can date it.
Give one to the clerk. Give two.
yeah, so they have, their records.
This is a reading paper.
Mm-hmm. Good, all right.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you all, hope to see you soon again.
Okay. At this time, the ZBA has sent us over the site plan review for the Carlton Villa project. We're willing to accept the lead agency, and at this time, we're just gonna send it to all the interested agencies. And then they have a month to get back to us, and then we'll go from there. So I need a motion.
So we make a motion to accept the application for the seeker.
Okay. Now, we need a motion to accept lead agency.
Make a motion to accept the lead agency.
Okay. Second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Just don't die.
So at this time, we'll send the whole application to the county planning board and various interested parties, DEC, SHPO, Department of Health, and see if anybody else wants to bump us. So, that's where we stand now.
Would you say county planning board, DEC, SHPO?
Yeah, we can get the complete list from Barbara.
I'll get the complete list from
Jim.
Okay.
It's also being sent to SHPO and Fish and Wildlife.
Excuse me,
It's also being sent to SHPO
SHPO
and Fish and Wildlife.
and Fish and Wildlife, plus DEC.
DEC, yep,
Have you already sent it?
yes. We
Okay,
sent letters.
you've already sent the letters. So you sent it to DEC, SHPO, Fish and Wildlife?
About
Okay.
health,
How
Department
about
of
the
Health.
county planning board?
No, that would be something you guys would do.
Okay, so Brian sent to there.
And that's offering them to take lead agency, what you sent to them.
No, it's just for their,
To
I'm
review.
just saying for their review, for the
Okay.
30-day review period.
Okay,
Do you know when you sent that?
I can get receipts. I
Okay.
think it was last week.
Okay, so we supposed to have to send it to the county planning board and who
Yes.
else? I have to
you
kind
sent to SHPO and DEC and everybody?
He said SHPO, DEC, and Fish and Wildlife.
Department of Health.
So kind, public health. Or the Department of Health, not public health. Okay, so I need to contact Jim Burrows to see if there's anybody
How
else.
about Army Corps of Engineers?
I don't recall. I'll have to find out about that. Let me get back to you tomorrow. I'll let you know for sure. And I'll give you the
Who you
receipts.
sent it to? Okay.
Yeah.
That works.
Can you include me in that email, Brian?
Don't trust me.
I
That's okay.
I just like to be in the loop. Okay, and then after we get your list, I will contact, or Frank will contact Jim Burrows, who's the town lawyer, to see if it needs to be sent anywhere else.
Okay.
Could I ask a question, Frank? Were there any changes or additions to the original seeker submission of
Yes.
forms?
Oh, seeker?
Yeah,
He has submitted the full seeker,
right.
as opposed to the short one.
Just one time, or was it modified or revised?
No, just one time,
One time.
Today.
yep.
Okay, we done with Carolina stuff?
I don't know, I think we're good, right?
Yeah.
Are we good at Carlson?
Yeah, that's it, right? The applications.
Well, is the floor allowed to ask any questions specific to Carl Talent?
No, I don't. No.
Actually, I have a few questions.
Sure.
One is, I didn't see on the map, you said you're gonna draw water from wells, a well or wells, is that correct?
Excuse me, what's the question again?
Positioning of wells on the property.
We've located the existing wells of neighboring properties, and now we're in the process of determining where the new well goes.
Has there been any flow tests of the existing wells on neighboring properties?
No, we haven't done any flow
So
tests
the,
in the neighbor.
if you were to drill there, there's no guarantee you get water.
Well, we have to meet the requirements of setbacks from existing wells. Like, you know, the whole septic system will have to be a certain setback away. Existing wells have to have a certain setback from new septic systems, from new wells. So that will all be determined in our final drawings.
And there'll be how many wells?
I don't know at this point.
Don't know.
The key is to wait for the seeker to get done, right? And then the other stuff.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on to some new business. Neil says none. I guess you, what?
I do have a few other questions.
Oh, I'm sorry.
If you don't mind. I went over this and, are you gonna have, backup power on the island?
Yeah, when we measured it last, it's roughly during, I think we measured it last summer, it was roughly an average of 4 feet, anywhere from 2 to 4 feet.
Will that be deep enough to bring barges in with equipment?
From the front, yes, from the front of the island, where there's a landing pad already built.
And you got enough room to stage all the equipment and materials and all that? Is there enough power available for the project?
We're determining that.
Give me a second here. Waste products from construction, that'll come back on a barge?
Yeah, everything will have to be barged back, and there'll probably be, you know, a dumpster on site, there will be, yeah.
And the highest elevation on the property?
Here's the elevation. Looks like 260.
So it'd be roughly 10 feet above the level of the river?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 250 is your water level.
And there's the runoff channels on the property? Where any flooding or water would create ponding or any issues like that?
No, and if there is, we'll design for the DEC requirements.
Okay.
Has he given any more thought to the parking on this side?
To parking? No,
Parking.
I haven't heard.
And you have 4 docks?
We have 3 floating docks that we're showing. I think that was an error in the seeker. It shouldn't have been 4, it should have been 3.
And how much spacing, how many slips?
Well, we have 800 linear feet of dockage. And so what we're thinking of doing is 3 floating docks, roughly 200 feet long.
They'll be able to handle any vessels that come in there?
It'll be pleasure craft. Yeah. And again, that will go through the DEC permitting too.
If you find that the bays are too shallow, are you gonna have to dredge?
Yeah, more than likely we'll have to do dredging. We'll have to get permitted for that too.
Okay.
Should the village be notified if parking is gonna be an issue? So they can take a look at your plans?
we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to, what we're gonna do it on mainland parking. We haven't done a site plan review yet, and once we do that, we'll question about mainland parking.
But when you're notifying all these agencies, maybe it would be,
It's not really the time. So,
I guess for the general public, it'd just be helpful if you don't mind providing us a little bit of background on the process. For some of us who don't understand, it might settle some of our concerns. I guess that's where I was hoping to get, ask a question.
Okay.
Like, what does the process
What we're
look
gonna
like?
do is, we're approaching the seeker, The next step would be, once the seeker's under motion, for the ZBA to issue a special use permit. That's the next step. Then we will go on and do site plan review. But there's no point doing site plan review if the concept is unacceptable to the ZBA.
Would there be a determination on seeker before it went back to the ZBA?
I'm not sure how that's gonna work. But we will start the process.
Okay, and just, and I apologize, this is not an area of my expertise, so I'm just more curious than anything. So if seeker goes out and say it's a negative declaration, and then it goes to the ZBA and then back to the planning board for site plan review, but then there's material changes to the site plan, would that require another review by seeker?
I don't think so.
The seeker goes out and it gives the agencies a chance to respond to what has to be done to make this plan. We know there's bald eagles, there's bats, and there's historic sites. So they're gonna flag those things, and then they come up with a solution. And then that solution has to be agreeable with the planning boards and the other agencies involved. We're the lead agency, so everybody gives all their input, and then we have to put it all together. And then there could also be public input that could be addressed and dealt with at that time. And then once the seeker is approved, and they say, everybody says, okay, you can go ahead with your project, that's when the special use permit comes in, that's when the setbacks come in, the variances through the zoning board, and then it comes back for a site plan review, and then that's the point where you add things like, we want a tree over here, a bush over here, we feel this is too close. And then the water, the wells.
Is that when they address the mainland parking and access?
That's when, yeah, they'll have to be addressed at some point, because obviously they gotta park somewhere, you know, unless they come from Clayton or Cape Vincent or, you know.
Sure.
But I'm sure it's gonna be cars, if they camp for a week, they're gonna have a car, right? And a trailer.
So just one final question on my end, I promise the last one. So now that seeker, the process for seeker has begun, I believe if my memory serves me right, there was a public hearing opened up at the plan.
Except for next month. Public hearing for seeker.
I guess I'm just curious when the public comment would happen, either before or after seeker. I suspect
There'll be a public hearing next month on the seeker.
Okay. Will it be open for a period of time, or will it be opened and then closed simultaneously next month?
I'm saying open and closed.
Okay. When will the new plans be made public?
Sharon will put them on the website.
When would that be, or when would you expect that to be?
After the seeker is approved, and then they come up with their wells and their septic and.
No, we can do it now. They're just the plans. I think.
The site plan application is accepted as complete,
Yes.
so that's it, it's done.
Yeah.
So all this additional information that you're talking about, which I understand, how would you get that if the site plan application is complete? It's just,
No, the application is complete, not necessarily the site plan. It's gotta be reviewed and
It's his application.
The required paper where it scans it in.
right, as part of,
And that goes
as
part
part
of
of
the
the
secret.
application, you have drawings and all the other details that you need.
This is just his application, what he's applied for with his vision, which is the same as that, I believe. And that's part of the seeker. That goes out with the seeker.
would you have that?
Hi, my name's Brody Smith. I'm the attorney for the Friends of Crofton Island. I know this isn't public hearing, so I'm watching the clock. I promise to be real brief. I have some notes I can help. I'm not gonna read this out loud, but if it'd be all right, Mr. Chair, if I could approach, this might be helpful, some secret background documents.
Sure.
Thanks. So, what I'm handing you is, I took some sort of cliff notes from the seeker handbook, and I thought it might be helpful moving through the process. I see you've got the cookbook, that's excellent. And
Way ahead of you.
there's this is something that's a little different than your average application. And I think that the process is obviously a little confusing, and I wanted to rise just to maybe provide some clarity. I've talked to Mr. Burrows too. So I do think it will, because of what seeker is your obligation. I think you did the right thing tonight. You asserted your intention to be lead agency. You're sending letters out to the other agencies that are listed in part 1 of the EAF. Those are other agencies that may have to issue permits or make decisions. And you've sent that letter out, and they're gonna speak within 30 days or forever hold their peace as to whether or not you're gonna be the lead agency. That's not their time limit to comment on the project. Oftentimes projects take months to study the potential environmental impacts. So just clarity there. So because you're the lead agency, you're doing the environmental review for all of those agencies. So any impacts that would happen due to the septic, you can't sort of assume that DOH will handle that later. You're considering the environmental impacts for the septic, even though state DOH will eventually follow the technical rules and issue the permit. You still have to do the environmental review. Same thing for the endangered species. You can't say, DEC will worry about the bald eagles, the Indiana bats, and the special waterfowl designation for those bays. You have to consider those things. So I listed a lot of that stuff in these documents. And again, I know it's not a public hearing, so I won't go through it now. But I'll put the idea out there, and I encourage you to talk to your attorney about it, and don't take my word for it. I think you're going to end up asking for a lot more before you make a final decision on what the environmental impacts are going to be for this project. So things that sort of are obvious, because there's houses all around it and a lot of habitat, light, noise, like how could you possibly make a decision as to whether or not there's going to be impermissible noise due to construction if they don't provide you some information about what sort of noise to be produced during construction, during operation, a noise study, a noise analysis. DEC has a policy that gives them a step-by-step plan exactly how you do that in the seeker process, not after, in the seeker process, for you to make a determination of significance there. Light, if they don't give you a photometric study, how do you know if light's gonna go over the boundary lines and interfere with the neighbors or whatever? So again, I won't list those things ad nauseum. I wrote them down. I included some maps in here showing you from their EAF, highlighting some things. It give you some comfort there. What they do on these maps is they show areas where they've found archaeological hits before, and therefore before you start digging around and building stuff, you got to have an archaeologist go in there and give you some report. We talked about the septic, we talked about the water. For something like this, I got to think you're going to want them to do elevations and some visual impact, because people live right there and you'll be looking. They're building a resort in the middle of the neighborhood, So I think that I encourage you to talk to your lawyer. I think once you look this over, you might agree it's likely that you're going to ask for some more information from them before you make a determination as to what the environmental impacts are. And I know it's confusing, but I really think you're going to find that a lot of that site plan review information is going to be relevant to the environmental review. And so you may end up asking for some of that sooner than you think. Okay. And I'll stop. I promise 5 minutes. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Just went into that. Mr. Martin, you want to come up? Sure. Show us what you want to do.
So we all done talking about houses around that? Sir, I cannot remember your name.
It's Jake Tibbles.
Jake Tibbles.
Just one, I said one last question, but when's the next planning board meeting scheduled?
The second Wednesday of next month.
Second Wednesday of next month?
April 10th.
April 10th. So do we have to schedule a public hearing for the
Yes,
seeker?
we'll do it, sorry.
I didn't think you could have a public hearing before the seeker was done.
We're
Does
gonna-
this public hearing mean you're gonna notify all the neighbors, but there's
Yeah,
nothing, but the seeker's not complete? And it won't be by the next public hearing, or, but by next month. You can't hold the public hearing without the seeker being completed.
okay, let's not set it up, I don't know.
I thought the seeker, what did Jim say?
You have to,
I thought we had to wait till we got the results of the seeker back first.
you have to wait to get the comments back from the other agencies. As far as that goes, DEC could take lead agency.
Let's schedule the public hearing, if we find out that it's inappropriate, we'll cancel it.
And you could always leave it open.
What's that?
You could just open it, leave it open if you have to leave it open every month. Yeah.
Okay.
Doesn't hurt.
Someone wanna make a motion to have a public hearing on the seeker for Carlton Island next month?
You want a motion?
To set up a,
I'll
public
make a
hearing?
motion to set it up.
Yeah, to, second? Someone second? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'll have a public hearing on the seeker for Carlton Island next month. Second Wednesday.
If it's canceled, you'll be notified.
Okay, so April 10th. So, to be, to be continued till next.
Well, head start this year.
Not much ice out there.
Okay,
All right,
let's see what you got.
now what is this?
We did this site plan 2 years ago,
We did this site plan 2 years ago for 77 sites.
and you want to,
Basically, what we want to do is add 8 more sites.
So you're gonna do the site plan now for all 8 of them, but just add 4 of them this year.
And I guess my question is, we have to do a complete site plan review to add more sites. I mean, we've done it, I mean, we own 60-some acres of land around it, there's no encroachment on anybody, it's right in the middle of the park. Health department, it's all, they've got all the drawings and they're doing their process here. The septic system that we put in is approved for 100 sites. So, I mean, it's all, I mean, all the infrastructure is there to put 100 sites in. We're just gonna add 8 more.
I didn't know you're, I didn't think that was appropriate.
Mr. Merton.
The site size and stuff are all, they're really big sites, they're like 30.
We approved this one a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
Thing is, you can't do a lot line shift, because you're not really using a lot line.
You're just adding eight.
We just add 8 more sites.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see if you're approaching on neighbors or houses or something like that, but this is all open field, it's all our property. We want through the process for all that.
you're not subdividing.
No, just adding, these are all seasonal sites, we're just adding 8 more seasonal sites.
And they're not for sale, right?
No. They just rent the site from them. They're bigger than any site on the rest of them.
So there's an application, or you're just asking.
Yeah.
What does it say?
So you need a permit, right?
We've got all.
Oh, you got the permit?
I'll have the health department permit. Cody sent me here, he said he didn't even see me.
Oh.
I called him, he said go to the planning board. But we're having like the electrical permit, that's all coming. when we're done.
But that would.
The health department and all that.
Put this down for a public hearing for next month?
That's not.
I don't even know if we need that, do we?
I don't know.
Well, that's not a special public hearing if you don't know if we need it. Can we take time to like to look at it and and figure out.
Well, if you put it down for a public hearing and you don't need it, you just contact me.
I don't know where to
I'm not so sure why you, honestly, why you would need a public hearing.
No, because you don't have any neighbors to.
I don't see any reason why you need
It'd be
Well,
like
that's why I'm here.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, we try to do everything right, and I was told to come, and like I say, my service, health department, and everybody else, and that's all. That's gonna be, I couldn't do it without their approval anyway, so. And actually, I can give you a copy of that once I get the approval from them. So I didn't know if you wanted to keep a copy of this and just put it with our other, so you got the file for adding these information, and then just put it with the other site plan.
Hold on, we're looking.
You should know the answer. I would think it used to, building permit.
Can you tell us in the audience what actually you're looking to do?
Oh, I'm sorry. We, came here 2 years ago, did a site plan review, 77 campsites out at the end of Humphrey Road. We've got those all filled, and we're just gonna add 8 more sites to the original site plan review.
These are what kind of campsites?
RV sites, seasonal RV sites. The septic system and stuff was all built for 100 sites, so it's already approved with the health department and stuff as far as any of that goes. We are obviously doing our application for the sites with the health department. We own all the land around it. We own 60-some acres of land around it, so there's no neighbors or, you know, it's just adding that to the park.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What's the width of that, Steve? You got the width and the height?
Yeah, those are all dimensions are 5 by, they're 3,200 square feet. 12.
1250, yeah, 1250.
We're putting in a full dock.
We went the other day and we were like, where'd you go?
Yeah, it just came in today.
Oh, did they?
So, yeah. So we get 2 weeks. Yeah, a lot easier getting in on the boat.
Yeah.
These are RVs, right?
Yep. Power, water, sewer. Full of
These are all RVs.
Yep.
Because I know like there was something, one of the that we kind of expanded. For example, home parks. Do you remember? It doesn't say that you can do local. It doesn't say that you can't.
I can see approaching property lines and other, residential housing and stuff like that.
There's always deadlines.
The stuff that's approved for 100 sites.
They do that in splash. So they take them, but now they're taking their splash
Basically, this is the existing what we have now.
These sites are gonna be large.
Yes, another 3,200 square feet. So we got lots of land, we want to make a nice improvement.
Yeah.
It's bigger than any of the sites on the whole place.
Yeah, that's what you say.
Yeah, plenty
They
of-
look larger.
Yeah.
Yeah, one station for everybody, but most people live in their own.
These are all full home houses.
Yeah, so these people.
Yeah, yeah, we had the health department made us put in another, we had, two toilets.
Right.
Showers.
Yeah, but anybody in the park.
Problem.
The, are you gonna do board on that road?
I don't think so, I think this is gonna be, it's plenty. It's just, we had all these built, and actually we've got 4 of these already built.
So you hike the right ground and
What's that?
you hike the right ground?
We'll see. That was his car. Oh, the guy before him was good. First time I met him, I knew this. I'd never seen him. He came in the driveway.
You get 2 lakes on.
I walked over and rolled down the window.
Cub Scout. Awesome. A lot of camping stuff.
Before he even got home. And, the engineers came in and said, I got everything I need to talk to that guy.
None of that, none of those 8 were included in the future plan when you did it 2 years ago.
I would've thought, I would've had thought originally draw out the whole thing, but we thought 77, we did those fill.
Yep.
We didn't think they were gonna fill that fast. And, I would've done this all first time. It would've been easier with the health department and everything, you know?
Fill the whole thing up.
Well, these are full right now.
No, I mean, you know,
I'd be shocked.
down the road, and
Yeah.
and if you don't use it, but,
Yeah.
you know, come back.
I know, I wish I would've, I didn't, you know, it's all moving me, so. I didn't think we were gonna fill those 77 that way. And that's exactly what the whole, should've done the whole thing one time. So I had to do this all over.
Cause now you gotta get all the permits and everything.
Oh, yeah. But there's no problem. I mean, the biggest thing that this was so big enough.
So why don't you do the whole thing?
Was that a cluster?
Yeah.
Put in all the sites.
Was that a cluster?
This is gonna be that. That's plenty. That's gonna be that.
He'll be back in 4 years from now. I've had 2 years.
Yeah, I'm thinking out the beach, he said.
Get it right out here.
Was that done as like a cluster development? No, once.
Within the slivers.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a site plan review for like these 77 sites. 2 years ago.
It looks like you could put it, if it's a cluster development, it's.
No, it's not. Just a trail. If you don't have this,
I don't see a problem myself. If we need a public hearing, why don't we schedule a public hearing, and we'll just cancel it.
But do we need,
Oh.
but do we need a, but do we need a public?
Tomorrow morning?
Yeah.
We notify them.
I mean, I don't even know who you would,
Cause it doesn't have an application, why would we have a public hearing?
who would say, you got 77, you know, you have 4 more.
Yeah.
And it's all his property.
Say, I understand if there was no.
I just don't understand how to do paperwork.
I don't know why he couldn't have just got a permit to add the sites, I don't understand why the road's there. From who? Cody? From Cody. And the county. Yeah,
So now we're on the,
because he needs a county permit also.
Cody sent us here to see if you needed
Well,
another
did you
site.
talk to Cody as a county?
I called him at the county, and, he said, you don't need to see anything, come here. That's when I called Frank, and he said, well, just come to the meeting, if you're over there, we'll go and see that.
what's the consensus on page?
I mean, it doesn't
Can't
say.
you just attach this to the original, keep this map, put it in the file for the original site plan review?
Just an expansion.
Like, can we do like,
We went from
like
more than
next,
one.
next to the site plan review, is that such a thing? Is that even right? I don't know.
I would have thought they would have just issued him a permit. It's like putting a patio in a lot.
Well, we really have, it's getting cemented, yeah. I can't do anything until I get their permit anyways. Yeah, as far, yeah, as far as opening up, but there's no problem. So the engineer just, he's actually submitting it probably tomorrow to the health department. And they'll do their thing, he said they're gonna just smash that. And wouldn't say their biggest thing, if we're taxing the septic system or something, all the law, I'm trying to be here talking to you. And environmental. They've done all that, it's only been 2 years, so they've done everything. On their own.
What about if it's all words?
Yeah. I see Bono Brothers up there had concrete site, I don't know if they've done site plans.
Like was it already included like in the site plan review from before and now they're just adding the sites that they have already been approved? I've never seen.
I mean, you're looking at something on the river, where there's places right next door. So I don't wanna make this big, that's just because I'm coming here.
There's not. There's like.
Martin's Morgan.
Expansion.
So we don't have any. Why would we have a public hearing?
We don't have anything, you know? Wait, I would just set it up, but let him call Cody and Burrows tomorrow and find out if you even need to do this. And then you can just.
We have to have some kind of paperwork.
I got a lot of applications, they were adding 8 sites, existing site plan review that we did, whatever year it was.
So what do you got, 77?
Yeah.
And you're allowed 100. So why don't you just, if you gotta submit something, then why don't you submit it for
Well, because of the expensive engineering and all that stuff, I mean, he's trying to keep it.
Oh, okay. Give her one of these.
You know,
Yeah.
not paying an engineer to design all the rest of the sites and stuff.
Yeah.
And with the health department, they're gonna wanna see electric, they're gonna wanna see the sewer, you know, elevations, and, I mean, I've done enough just to do these.
You said you're not even gonna add more.
I don't anticipate it. I mean, even when we did the 7, you know, it just.
But we need some kind of paper trail to.
I think you should call.
I don't know.
Kinda like my shed, they called up a month later and said, I don't know about.
So like I said, I just don't want this thing to blow up, go into a great big blown out thing.
No.
You want to keep them at?
He doesn't want to roll
Alright, he'll give you copies.
He's waiting to get his number.
315-783-4886. Okay?
He'll be in the cabela.
Yeah, right. I don't answer.
Well, thanks for coming.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
Can I get a motion to close this meeting?
I'll make a motion to close the
To second? All in favor?
Aye.
That would be